어기영차
어기영차
어기영차 어기영차 어기영차 어기영차 서울은 계속된다. 가장 서울답게. Your Seoul goes on.
Ladies and gentlemen, nice to meet you. Welcome everybody. My name is Hyun Myung-ho, MC for today's event. 55 embassies in Korea and sister cities around the world have joined hands together for the 2021 Seoul Friendship Festival, enjoyed by citizens around the world. It kicked off on October 1st and come to the last day today, which is taking place online. Seoul City has introduced hands-on kits with themes of global landmark cities. We enjoyed video clips sent from overseas performance teams, which took place with the awesome backgrounds of cities around the world. And we watched home food delivery videos. And also we enjoyed a cooking show with local foods introduced by chefs representing countries around the world. And we enjoyed such a nice food at home. Although we are under stress of COVID-19, I hope that we were able to feel a bit of relief by interactively traveling around the world. Over the last 9 days, we introduced culture of various parts of the world. But today, at this K-pop Korean Wave talk show, we're going to mainly talk all about K-pop. We received registration questions through website. We received your participation registration on our website, and I was really surprised to see such active participation. Around the world, our ladies and gentlemen are joining us. I'd like to convey my deepest gratitude to all. And now let's start K-pop Korean Wave Talk Show. Today, before we begin, we have a wonderful guest who is going to cover all of your curiosity about K-pop. We have a critic, Mr. Kim Young-dae. Our guest is the first music critic in the era of internet. He is the most liked critic by Korean K-pop fans. We're joined by Mr. Kim Young-dae. Nice to meet you. Mr. Kim, as you can see on the screen that we are joined by all these wonderful participants around the world. Yeah, I feel like we are staging a concert, K-pop concert. Please say hi to them. Nice to meet you. My name is Kim Young-dae. I feel honored to be part of this K-pop talk show. I think this is quite interesting. It's almost the first time for me to hold a K-pop concert. Not concert, talk show. So I feel a little bit nervous. I understand that you have researched a lot about K-pop and Korean Wave. So I hope that you cover all the curiosity and questions from the participants. I'd like to ask you you felt like when you were invited by this talk show. Yeah, when I was invited by this talk show the first time, I was kind of overwhelmed because the participants are coming all around the world. they are like, yeah, literally the K-pop fans and armies coming from around the world. So although I was really excited, I wasn't sure what to tell. Yeah, you just briefly mentioned about army, right? Yeah, because the first video clip was BTS introduction video. So now let's see what would be the first theme that we're going to cover. Let's see the theme of today's talk. Let's see, it's shown on the back of the screen, and the theme is the past and the future of K-pop forecast and the outlook of the post-COVID era. I mean, the theme looks quite heavy, right? Yeah, I think I picked some heavy talk show theme. Yeah, this is something we have to continue to talk for about 2 hours, right? Okay, so before we talk about something heavy, we'd like to start with something light. When we see you, I mean, I often hear you people saying about you, you are the history of K-pop. Yeah, it's because I started my career in the 1990s, and it was the beginning of K-pop, I think. And as I started my career as critic and started studying in the U.S., I think that was the beginning stage of K-pop going abroad. So that's why people tell me I'm the history of K-pop. I understand that you had keen interest in music, but mostly when the kids were young, that they studied a lot about classical music. But you switched your interest into K-pop? Right. When I was young, I studied classical music, but I had great enthusiasm in the pop culture. So I dreamed about K-pop being famous around the world one day. But now we're enjoying this heyday of K-pop. So yeah, I feel very emotionally touched. I want to ask you, what was your parents' reaction when you said I'm gonna study K-pop? Yeah, my parents were not saying no, but I was able to see that the face expression they were not quite happy. So okay, now let's talk about the theme that we're going to cover. The past and the future of the K-pop and also the outlook of K-pop. What do you think? I'd like to talk with something light.
The past and present of K-pop seems too heavy, but when I look back, so when I first encountered K-pop or I started studying in the US in 2007, and I stayed there for 10 years and I could see the reaction to K-pop. But there is a huge difference from the past and present. So the most striking difference is that now we have BTS phenomenon, which represent the widespread popularity of K-pop. But when I first went to the US and when I started researching the K-pop phenomena, K-pop was enjoyed by many people back then. However, it was limited to a small number of people and it was confined to certain races and ethnicities. So it was enjoyed and communicated among those certain groups. But it has been almost 15 years, and during that time frame, K-pop has gained popularity all around the world. So it is not confined to a single country, and we don't have to explain the meaning of the songs. Everyone can understand the emotions of those songs, and the fact itself is that the sentiment and emotions of Korean people are widely recognized, and I believe that this is the biggest difference today. And Recently, BTS performed at the United Nations, and I was so moved by the performance because when I was young, we listened to songs named We Are the World, and Western singers represented the entire world, delivering positive messages. And it was very common. However, those representation. So it is not possible to represent the entire world just because I want to do that. It depends on the status of a certain singer. So it is the achievement of BTS, of course. However, it is the achievement of the general K-pop as well. Now, K-pop can represent the younger generation in the entire world, delivering positive messages. And I believe that that is a huge achievement. And regarding COVID-19, it is a difficult time. That is why BTS and other positive messages from K-pop scene are emphasized and highlighted more. And just like technologies we have seen, there has been a huge advancement in platforms as well. So after COVID-19, I believe the K-pop will be enjoyed even further by people around the world. So it was a brief explanation from Dr. Kim. And what do you think that BTS is so popular? Did you expect it? No, I didn't. Honestly, I thought that they could be popular to some degree, but I didn't expect this kind of global popularity. So I was so surprised. And thanks to BTS, I believe that people around the world could become much more familiar to Korea. Yeah, it was the role of Western singers in the past. I used to sing We Are the World a lot myself. However, BTS has songs like Permission to Dance, and they are gaining global popularity. So it was a good comment from Dr. Kim, and we have other topics to cover for this talk show. And for YouTube participants, please leave your questions in the comment section, and we will select about 5 questions so that the critic can answer your questions. And first, through pre-registration, we have garnered several questions, and let me present those questions to you. Also, you have the state-of-the-art system for a Q&A session. This is my first time to see this. It is very new. So I have to open the box myself because it is completely sealed. So let me randomly select a question. So I feel nervous whenever I pick this question. So it is well sealed. So here goes the first question. So who sent this question to us? I believe that this person takes you as a role model. How K-pop songs helped you in this COVID era? So I'm not so sure who you is here. So how are K-pop songs helping in this era of pandemic? So is it the people around the world? I can just confine the question to myself then. So in my thinking, in this pandemic situation, everything is struggling. The popular culture is having difficulty and all the industries are having problems. However, last year, K-pop was the only industry which witnessed the development and growth. BTS and Blackpink, there are many K-pop bands who are garnering success on the global stage. But at the same time, we have online performance which has become a little bit more common in Korea. And compared to other music genres, K-pop could be enjoyed by people. And the message of K-pop is very positive and optimistic. So it delivers messages to overcome difficulties facing us today, and it is not hard to enjoy. So that is why it is the strength for us in this difficult time, and I believe that it will continue to play such role in the future. So depending on the development of K-pop, I believe that you have changed accordingly. You must be much busier now. Yes, that is true. So many people are struggling in the era of COVID-19, but now that we have an online platform, I can give many lectures online. But the biggest difference is that I can connect with the entire world. I never thought of that as a critic before. I could target a certain group. However, now we have a global audience for our talk show. And I believe that it is possible because our topic is K-pop. So in the future, I believe that you will become much busier. So you can just look forward to that. And you can take me when you go abroad. And this is the second question we've got. So it feels like a messenger bird is delivering this question for me. So after COVID-19, what will be the factors to maintain the success of K-pop? I think I have already covered this question partly. And could you pick another question? So I believe that I should have picked the questions because it takes even longer to pick a question than answering those questions. I hope I will have an interesting question. But I believe that everyone is a philosophy major. So many countries are struggling, suffering from COVID-19. What kind of efforts can we make in this time? So many countries are suffering, that is true. I cannot say which country, but every country is having difficulty. But K-pop can help in this sense. What is that? So on SNS, there was a hashtag movement to show the political or cultural difficulties they are facing so that they can deliver the message of solidarity and encouragement among themselves. So, of course, countries and national borders and ethnicities, they are dividing factors in our daily lives, and it is a divide we created as humans. However, K-pop could connect and bridge everything. So it could deliver a bridging message. It is the role of music in general. However, we can form solidarity among fans of a certain music genre. So listening to your answer, I feel much greater.
So the question was from Channa Antio. Thank you for the question. And the next question is, so I want to ask you, what are the things that the COVID-19 has, what kind of impact the COVID-19 has given to the fans who started liking K-pop? I don't know, it's not because of COVID-19. When you start liking K-pop, the reason that you feel in love with K-pop is because it's easy for you to enjoy. For example, for other culture or for other pop culture, that you need to understand something to better enjoy. However, when you watch K-pop video or music video, I think it has a power of very intuitive power. Whether you have stereotypes in the past, whoever that is, that K-pop has very intuitive power. So immediately you fall in love with it. And one of the disadvantages that we have to find, that I think K-pop is representing whole K-pop, the culture. However, there are such a variety of Korean music culture. So I'd like to say K-pop is not representing all the Korean music culture. The question was from Andrea Manimuna. Thank you. I hope that your question was covered quite well. And the last question is, I wish we could have some easy questions. Yeah, I'm talking with Mr. Kim Young-dae, and I wanted to have some kind of fun talk. But your questions are very heavy and philosophical, so I feel like I'm sweating a little bit. Yeah, it's more like an international conference, and the ladies and gentlemen joining us are very serious about the K-pop. And this question is in line with the questions covered before, but I'd like to wrap up the whole questions with this final question. I want to ask you why the world loves K-pop, not only K-pop, but K-wave, the cosmetics and the drama and everything. I think it's because of the power of Korean culture, and the another reason is because with the K-wave spreading around the world, I think there's new kind of like awakening is happening. What I mean by that is the Korean culture is something that the Koreans didn't value before. What I mean by that is it was undervalued, like stock, if I may say. But Korean people have come to realize now that the Korean K-pop or Korean wave had such a high quality, and compared to other cultural products, the Korean products are not lagging behind. And another reason I think it's because all the K-wave related products or stories are creating synergy. For example, 오징어 Game, the recent drama, the Netflix, and also the BTS. And it's all about our story. It's not only Korean youth, but also the youth and society around the world, and the audiences or the people who watch or use the cultural products, and that they feel some common connections when consuming the cultural products. Right, thank you for your answers. The question was from Joshua Castro. Thank you. I hope that your questions were covered well. And this Q&A session is waited by many people around the world. From the early morning, many girls and boys and our fans have been waiting for this session. You can see from the screens in the back. I'm very surprised to see this, our fans. I know that you are, yeah, please wave. I know that you are like in the evening or early morning, and thank you for waiting for a long time. And among these fans on the screen, we'd like to pick some of them. Okay, let's watch the screen. And who shall we pick? Let's see. If you have a question, if you stay quiet, then your question will not be chosen. So you need to show action. Waving hand, that's too weak. Or you can dance. If you dance, then there is a high chance your question will be selected. Let's see. Please show your action. Let's see. Oh, you're so quiet. Is there anybody who can go further? Or you can pop up the dynamite? You can dance if you like. All right. I can see the fan with wearing glasses. She's smiling. Do you know? Yeah, Ria? Are you talking about Ria? Yeah, we're talking about Ria. She's selected. Okay, now she's connected. I hope she can hear us well.
Hi.
안녕하세요.
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 저는 레이입니다.
오.
I'm Filipino. My name is Ray.
제가 지금 이 통역 이 번역기를 껴야 되는데
to wear the interpreter machine, but I don't think I need the interpretation machine because your Korean is such a wonderful Korean.
We've been talking a lot about the philosophical side of K-pop and how it has affected COVID, but I just wanted to make things a little bit fun as a critic. And for the host as well, I would like to know what K-pop group is your favorite. Just curious.
무슨 무슨 K-pop 그룹 좋아하세요?
So, what K-pop group do we like? Yes, you go ahead. I'd like to be careful, so you go ahead, Mr. Han. Frankly, I love old K-pop boys, but I love Blackpink because they are my son's favorite. And Mr. Kim, you have to be really careful. And I'd like to I don't want to pick my favorite, but I'd like to pick my daughter's favorite. But as a critic, I can't share my personal appetite. I'd like to, see the K-pop objectively. Recently, over the last couple of years, that I've been focusing on BTS. So of course, BTS is one of the top, and yeah, I love Blackpink and Red Velvet and NCT, Litz, boy group. And overall, I love almost all boy and girl groups. But you're avoiding the core of the question. I want to ask you your personal favorite one. It's because it's my job. I don't have specifically one group, but I like one thing about BTS, for example, and one thing about Blackpink. What sides of what boy band? For example, for BTS, I think there's deep emotion that I could feel, the genuine message that I could feel, the something raw. So I was able to feel such rawness in the BTS songs. And the Blackpink, their swaggering, the confidence and their professionalism, I love it. And NCT Litz, for example, their song and their experimental side. Some might think that K-pop is too easy to enjoy, but I mean their experimental trial was quite shocking. And Tomorrow by Together is there has a great storyline and detailed storylines, and yeah, that's why I love them. I introduced Mr. Kim as a history of K-pop, but he can be called as the father of K-pop. So we're joined by this wonderful fan in Philippines. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
자, 또 다른 분 한 분 더 한번 들어보도록
So now we will pick the next person to ask a question. There is someone who is very shy, waving her hand. Kimia Kakaya? So we will invite Kimia Kakaya.
Can you hear me?
Hi, nice to meet you. 네.
네.
안녕하세요.
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 So could you please introduce yourself? I'm from Iran.
And my question is that when you listen to BTS songs, what kind of vibe do you get from them?
방금 일단 뭐
Can you hear me?
오케이.
Yeah.
오케이. No problem. 오케이. 네. BTS의 노래를 들으면
So how do you feel when listening to BTS? You have talked about this already. But we have so many BTS fans, so it could be a little bit overlapping. But as I said, let me talk about another aspect. So I'm quite old myself, but when listening to BTS, I feel like I'm going back to my childhood. It is not about memories only, but it is about when I was young, what kind of complaints did I have? What kind of difficulties did I have? I think about it. So I can really feel music. And on the other hand, I envy their youth because they can express their feelings through such kind of music, and I respect that. And what is and could you tell us what is your favorite part of BTS songs?
Well, I actually love Permission to Dance because when I listen to the song, it makes me dance, and I love dancing. And that's why I listen to BTS songs, and the vibe that it gives me is so positive and so optimistic.
Yeah. 네. 그런 의미에서 BTS
So on that note, could you show us the move from BTS dancing?
No.
You can do it. Please. 네.
아니요.
굉장히 부끄러워하시네요.
할 수
She's
없어요.
very shy.
지금 거기에는 지금 몇 시죠 지금?
So what time is it there?
Well, it actually 8 a.m. there.
아침 8시 일찍 일어나셨네요. Early bird.
So you got up early. So thank you for your question and your participation. Thank you very much. So it is very convenient because you speak English yourself. So let's move on. So please show us action. Please show something to us. Loha, who was giving us a heart-shaped waving. Yes, here we got her. Hello? They are K-pop fans, so they introduce themselves in Korean. So could you introduce yourself once again?
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 태아입니다.
My name is Jae. It's a great pleasure to meet you.
반갑습니다.
Nice to meet you. I'm from Malaysia and I'm 9 years old.
말레이시아라고 하셨어요?
Yeah, I think I heard she is from Malaysia. Is that correct? I think you are a student, right?
9 years?
Yes.
So cute. So what about your friends? Your friends like K-pop too?
Yeah. Yes.
오, 그래요. 자, 오늘 그 BTS에 관련된 내용이라면
So he knows more than everyone about BTS, but what is your question?
What do you think about the unique blend of the traditional culture and K-pop music? It is very trending and popularly now. 감사합니다.
잘은 안 들렸는데. 네. K-팝을 들으면서
So listening to K-pop, it could be I like the traditional aspect, and through K-pop, so she expressed that she likes Korean culture. And so, what is the unique part of K-pop? I couldn't hear it clearly myself, but in my understanding, let me give you an answer. So K-pop is understood as a certain genre. I don't think there is a one unique characteristic to K-pop. I think that is the strength of K-pop. It is a total package. In one music, you can find various charms, including music, performance, and appearance of the performers. So you can enjoy that as a whole package. And while you get to know the artists, you can understand the universe behind it, including storylines of those songs. And I believe that this characteristic is the most powerful factor for K-pop, and that is why it is globally popular. So,
어떤 가수를 좋아하는지
which one is your favorite K-pop band?
who's your bias?
방탄소년.
BTS. 오케이. BTS 노래 중에서 부를 수 있는 거 있으면
So could you sing BTS song for us a little bit?
Can you sing a bit?
Yes. Cause we don't need permission to dance. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. We don't need permission to dance. Da na 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 na. Hey, da na 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 na. Da na 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 na.
굿잡. 네, 고맙습니다.
아, 너무 잘한다.
Thank you very much.
가수 뒤에 코러스 막 이런
So you did all the singing lines and chorus, and it was correct tunes. So you can carry the tune correctly. So it is full score to give for you. Thank you very much. So we talked to 3 people. So is there another person we can pick? And what about you, Mr. Kim? You can choose someone.
크리스틴 재즈 저 I can 아니 화면이 같은 거 크리스틴 그쪽에서 보셔야 되고
You can read from your side.
Is that right name? 네 지나간 것 같은데. 네 맞아요 맞아요.
Yes, she's the one.
안녕하세요.
Hello, could you introduce yourself?
안녕하세요, 제이입니다.
네.
네,
So where are you from?
필리핀 사람이에요.
I'm from the Philippines. There are many people from the Philippines, and I believe that it is popular in the Philippines, and I love the Philippines myself.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much. So, are you a student?
No, I'm working already.
아, 지금 일을 하시는
So,
네,
you are working.
직장에서 뭐라 그러지?
So, are you okay with your work today?
Day here in the Philippines, we don't have work.
오늘 일 안 하는 날이라서 상관없는 것 같습니다.
네. 직접 얘기를 해주셨고요. 아, 오늘 쉬는 날이시래요.
네네네.
아, 일요일이요? 아, 그렇죠. 4시간부터
Yes, of course, it's Sunday. I forgot about that. So, we will get your question. What is your question?
Yeah, I just want to know, do you think that the K-pop and the Korean drama wave will stay influential for the next coming years?
드라마 얘기죠?
자, 뭐 드라마나 이런 한류가 앞으로도
네네네.
계속 지속될까요?
아 저는 사실 뭐 이게
So personally, I'm not saying this because I'm Korean, but in the future, I believe that we have the environment for further popularity in the future. We have Netflix and social media, YouTube. These platforms
한국이 만드는 대중음악이
are very favorable for Korean music and content. So it will be distributed more actively. So in the past, Western culture was dominating the scene, but it could be Korea, but even other Asian countries could have more opportunities in the future. So Korean drama series and films and this content will be even more popular in the future. So as you said, the global popularity of K-pop shows that any country can do that on the global stage.
그동안은 사실 스님 말씀
So far, as Mr. Kim said, that the majority was Western culture. However, we look forward to Filipino singers sing together with BTS.
That's really great.
네, 연결해 주셔서 감사합니다. 네.
Thank you very much for your question. So now we have covered the questions of fans, and each one of them showed such a wonderful interest. And I want to cover all the questions, but due to time constraint, that we have to, finish the question. But if you have more questions, that you can leave your comments, your questions on the comment box. So now let's move on to the YouTube comment box. The first question from Moody Iriantin. Wow, the question from all over the place. About the K-pop popularity, some people call the war among the K-pop fans, and some people say the K-pop it has a great healing element. What do you think?
실제로 그런 것들이 좀 실제로 일어나요.
Do you see a lot of conflicts going on among fans? Yes, I can see a lot of competition among fans.
이들이 즐기는 대중문화가 갖는
I think is one of the characteristics that the mass
무조건 아니라고 생각합니다.
culture has.
하나가 있는 것이고
That is one of the aspects of the mass culture. However, as I said earlier, there are many contents that give healing to our minds.
사람들에게 그런 좋은 메시지
And also, there are good messages that heal people's minds and their life.
저는 늘 그렇지만 이 즐기는 사람에 따라서
Culture depends on people on how they enjoy.
궁극적으로는 조금
But
더
ultimately, I think
서로 조화시켜 나가는
we have to synchronize all these elements so that we can better enjoy in harmony. And sometimes you see that the fans are attacking each other. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that happens a lot because they, argue that our singer is the best, or even in one group that fans are conflicting, arguing about, oh, my oppa is the best. But, that is something that we have to refrain from because we are all supporting K-pop. However, yeah, but I don't think it's a serious level.
그 믿음의 여러분들 꼭 보답을 해주셨으면 좋겠어요.
Yeah, thank you for showing such a wonderful feedback to K-pop, and I can see that the K-pop culture is maturing every day. Thank you. And the second question is that the Korean culture is spreading across the world, not only K-pop but also the Squid Game.
하지만 이제 좀 심플하게
What's the reason that the K-pop is getting popularity around the world?
문화가 그만큼 사실 매력이 있다.
I think Korean pop culture has such attractiveness. Like I said earlier, that there was no channel that we could tap into, tap the door of the people around the world. But now we have the platforms and media, YouTube, Netflix, so through various channels that we are able to share the culture to the people around the world. So with this given opportunities, people around the world are seeing the wonderfulness of the K-pop. And to provide and to meet the appetite of the global citizens, Koreans are working really hard. Koreans are working really hard all the time. So that's why Korean culture, the pop culture, is rapidly growing. Yeah, I can feel the confidence and the pride in Mr. Kim. So K-pop is one of the well-known K-wave, but what is the other one that you'd like to introduce? Recently, that the Nobel literature prize was announced recently, but unfortunately, in the literature side, Korean novels are not getting a lot of popularity, not like K-pop. But for us to better know the literature to the world, that we need good translators. However, it is good thing that we are seeing that the Korean novels are getting popularity around the world. So if you study more Korean, then not only the lyrics, but you will see the poets and the stories about Korean. This you will find more attractiveness in K-wave. So the K story and the K literature is getting popularity around the world too. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Next question, please. So we are receiving a lot of questions, and another one is, what do you think about the combining? What do you think about the phenomenon combining tradition and the modernity in K-pop? In the past, Korea was a poor country, but for us to be successful and to compete against other countries in the global era, we were forced to be modern. So for us to go modern, that we refrain from traditional sides. However, we're seeing now the return of Korean traditional things. People start liking Korean traditional design, for example, roof of the house, or Korean drama, historical drama, and also in the BTS music video that you can see that the Korean traditional aspect, and also there is a fusion team like Inalchi. They feature traditional things to the world. So I hope that traditional features will be merged into K-pop, and then more traditional aspects will be introduced to the world. I think K-pop is doing a wonderful thing in showing the world the traditional beauty.
자, 이번에는 몽순 엄마가
And this time, Mongsun Amma is asking the last question.
기생충은 현재
The
한국
parasite
미나리는
and the Minari shows the societal sides. One is in Korean and the other one is Korean living in the US. And then what are the common aspects you see in these two movies? I think she has the answer already. Like you said, the parasite is the story of family, and Minari is the story of the Korean diaspora. And the original game, the Squid Game, is horror of family, Korean family. However, the common thing is the Korean, but it's very Korean. In the past, people couldn't understand the uniqueness of Korean. However, now it has been, revealed to the world that the very Korean thing can be interpreted and digested by the people around the world. It's because the humans are all sharing same emotions. So even there is traditional uniqueness, you can find commonality, universal commonality in such uniqueness. Yeah, we have covered many questions, but while hosting this talk show, that I was actually having a hard time because your questions were so deep. Although your questions were very difficult to digest and hard, our Mr. Kim, the father and the history of K-pop, covered all the questions very well. And I'd like to ask you what it was like for you. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Your keen interest in Korean wave was high, and I was very proud to be here representing K-pop. Right, we are joined by fans around the world, and due to COVID-19 that you can't travel the world, but one day I wish I could see you in person and we could talk about K-pop. Yeah, I hope you stay healthy, and I know that we're under a lot of pressure because of our own circumstances, but stay healthy and happy. Right. I hope that we can see that K-pop further spread throughout the world, and thank you for your role, Mr. Kim. So we have had a wonderful time with Korean Wave fan, and we have come to the end of the K-pop Korean Wave talk show. And once again, I'd like to thank all the ladies and gentlemen who are joining us in Korea and around the world. Yes, we're going through COVID-19, but we're going to win through it together with the positive mind. And this has come to an end. Once again, thank you very much.
2030 Seoul. The world's most admired city that gives you a fair chance to realize your dream. The safe and prosperous city where you learn to cherish the value of history and happiness. Seoul's change for 2030 begins now. Moving up the social ladder, your life in Seoul takes a leap forward. Seoul aims to be a city where you live in your own house. Talented youth succeed. Life after retirement excites you. Streets and alleys are filled with vibrancy and laughter. 2030 Seoul will offer a fair and harmonizing place where anyone can unleash their potential. By improving the global competitiveness, Seoul is ready to step up as the world's leading city. As a hub for finance, digital, and beauty industry, Seoul will attract investment for future growth, help unicorns and small brands grow bigger, and fascinate people around the world with our charm and delicacies. 2030 Seoul will become the top 5 leading city in the world. Resilient Seoul based on our robust system will keep you safe from any risk or danger. Seoul's smart healthcare services will help you keep track of your health anywhere at any time, safeguarding you from climate change, diseases, and natural disasters. Seoul will bring back clean air and blue skies. 2030 Seoul is ready to become the most resilient, clean, and healthy city in the world. Your life in Seoul will be elevated in dignity with the city's charm and futuristic vibes. Experience the world you have never known. See how your neighborhood streams transform into a waterfront park. Appreciate high-class art and culture. With 2,000-year-long history and tradition kept alive in modernity, 2030 Seoul awaits you. 2030 Seoul will change. And so will the citizens' lives. For better tomorrow, Fair City Seoul runs again.